one.
Hey everyone, welcome to Powering Through Adversity, a series where we talk about how you can overcome adversity in the COVID-19 world.
If you've been laid off or are feeling unsure about your financial situation, we want you to know you are not alone and we want to help.
I'm Sam Kwong, aka Sammy.K.
And I'm Matt Diamond, aka Matty.D. And we are both reformed CPAs turned veteran recruiters inspired to support our global community that have been economically impacted by COVID-19 and its aftermath.
We hope you enjoy the show.
2, 1.
Hey everyone, you got Sammy.K and Matty.D here, and today we have a quick bite for you where we're talking about 8 ways to make dollars and money during the quarantine. We know it's difficult during this time, and we want to be able to help and provide you a snippet of 8 essential ideas because right now times are tough and it's easy to get into a mindset where you're thinking to yourself, I've been laid off or I'm in a situation where I'm unemployed and no one's hiring. But the reality is that if you look closely enough, you got to have that optimistic mindset, half glass full mentality. And there are people hiring. So when you look around closely, you'll find that the people that are hiring, it's not about them, it's more about yourself and whether or not you can look at yourself in the mirror and your ego and be okay with the jobs that are being offered right now. For example, it really is a time where you have to self-reflect and say, hey, am I ready to get my hands dirty? Because these are not jobs where you're sitting in a corporate office where you're comfortable. And so today we want to jump into 8 ways to make those dollars, but you really have to get down and dirty because these are working jobs and working positions where you can make money right away. Matty.D, you ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. I'll kick it off. So why don't you start with number 1?
All right, number 1. So as Sam said, everybody out there, I think, is getting in a mindset where we're like, wow, we were in good times for so long. Now who's hiring? No one's hiring. I think first cases, people are definitely hiring. You just have to kind of shift your mindset to where those hiring jobs. If you need to put food on the table and make money today, the people that are hiring are in essential services, right? So one big area or category is something like an Instacart or a DoorDash or Uber Eats. You can be the person going to pick up someone's groceries and delivering it to them because maybe they have an elderly person at home and they can't go out and do it themselves, or they, like myself, have a 6-month-old and they want to limit that baby's exposure to the outside world. So getting people's groceries to their door or delivering meals to them, which is great because you're indirectly also supporting restaurants that are really kind of struggling right now and making sure that they're getting businesses. And those types of companies in these delivery services worlds are hiring up the yin-yang. I've heard about certain parts of the United States where people have made anywhere from $30 to $45 an hour doing this. So it's not bad money too. 2, another part of the essential services, different part of the chain, is just grocery stores. If you're willing to roll up your sleeves, you need to make some money. You need to put some money in your pocket. Grocery stores are completely strapped right now. So if you are able-bodied, you need to put money in your pocket. Working at a grocery store as a clerk, making sure that they're running and operating successfully is actually a very, very well-needed service right now, and it's very much in demand. And more generally, a company like Amazon or Whole Foods, they are hiring up the yin-yang for logistics support, transportation, managing warehouses, all the way down to, a subsidiary like Whole Foods where, again, you would work in the grocery store. So right now, if you need to put money in your pocket, like I said, don't let ego get in the way, right? Much respect. Go out there and make sure you're doing what needs to be done to make sure you're putting the right thing in front of you and your family. So that's the first one. Essential services need to hire right now, no matter where you are. Number 2, Sam, give it to us.
Awesome. So number 2 here, we just moved out of winter. We're in spring cleaning now. And so there's no more snow removal. But when it comes to spring cleaning, it's something that I can say I grew up doing a lot of these services, and I really like it for two reasons. Number one, you get to make quick cash. And number two, it's really, at the end of the day, look at it as exercise. You're getting paid to work out. And so when it comes to spring cleaning, some of these things you can really start to do is look inside. If you've recently gotten married like myself, again, my wife may not like this because I haven't told her this yet, but we got to sell that wedding dress. It's sitting in the cupboard. And Amanda, note to you, let's take a look and see what that's worth, because we got to get that wedding dress out the door and see if we can help anyone with that. Old cell phones or tablets, so technology, take a look and post those things online. You can actually post your cell phones. A lot of people buy them because they don't want the latest and greatest iPhones, nor can they actually afford that. But take a look when it comes to extra keyboards, mouses, dongles, even HDMI cables. You can make those $5-10 a pop here. And so take a look. Technology is something that people continuously buy. And so that's a great way for spring cleaning. And when it comes last season's clothing, so here's the thing, when it comes to clothes, we want to ensure that during this time it's safe, because people might think, hey, if you're posting clothes online, there's cooties. But here's the thing, do your diligence, see what you can do there, follow the guidelines. Clothing, take a look at that. When it comes to the next item here, I would say utilize eBay for anything along the lines of, video games. I mentioned this earlier in my point, technology. There's computers, there's cameras. I find that cameras is actually a pretty big one. Obviously, the value is no longer there as it was before, just because of how cell phones have advanced. The cameras keep getting better and better, but people still buy handheld cameras on there. And I've sold a couple myself that I find is super, super valuable. And that's another way to make quick cash. And for you ladies out there, purses, we got to say, there's probably more than one sitting in your closet. Take a look. Maybe you want to actually get out with the old and in with the new. And when you do take something in with the new, probably not buying now, but I would say take a look through your purses, see which ones you're no longer wearing, or when you look at it and say, hey, have I used this in the last 3 years? If the answer is no, spring clean. Makeup is a big one. From what I hear and research, and I know a lot of female friends says, hey, you know what, my makeup is just really sitting there. And obviously, let's try to be careful. Let's go with the unopened, unused makeup, right? I don't think anyone wants your used makeup. But essentially here, when it comes to spring cleaning, that's actually a really, really good idea for you to do. And at the end of it, you can actually take a look and say spring cleaning when it comes to, yard, seeing if those services really help. So I think I'm segueing here, Matt, into freelancing. So that's number 3. Why don't you kick that off here for us?
Awesome. And yeah, and just before I talk about freelancing, I really just want to quickly make a comment on the name brand clothing items, bags, purses for all the ladies out there. That one has been really successful, and I've seen people in my own network really put some actual good money in their pockets for a jacket, a North Face jacket that they had 5 years ago that just doesn't work for them anymore, or they don't want to wear. A company like Poshmark, they take 20% off the top to handle everything. And you can actually put some good money back in your pocket. And that's actually something my fiance right now is doing and doing successfully, which is pretty cool. And that's why I wanted to make sure we provided that to you, the audience. So back to number 3, freelancing. I think the first thing here is go take a look at companies like Upwork and Fiverr and explore it. It will give you a lot of ideas of what people are willing to hire for through a virtual environment. That can be anything. Like right now is a good example is resume consulting, a review, writing blog posts. At the very least, if you go through all of those both of those platforms, and you don't find anything that you're like, I feel like I can charge for, at the very least, you could put a posting up and have yourself be a virtual assistant, which all that really means is that you are taking on the administrative burden. You're kind of functioning as the assistant for someone else in a virtual environment. So helping them, schedule out their laundry services or make calls for them or, write emails for them to review. There's a million different things a virtual assistant can do for someone that just is too busy. That's the bare minimum. However, by looking through these platforms, it's a great way. Take self-inventory in terms of the skill sets that you have, and then put something out there, and I guarantee you'll be able to put some money back in your pocket while never leaving your home, which again, something that a lot of us can't even really do right now in a crazy way. So that's number 3, freelancing. Sam, kick off number 4 for us.
No problem. Number 4. So we are looking at the education sector here, and this one is an area that is close to home. For myself, I've got an education company myself, Evolution Learning, but what we've noticed from UNESCO right now as it sits, there's over 1.5 billion students that are out of school right now worldwide. And what does that mean? That means that teachers, tutors, people that can actually teach course content, super valuable right now. So take a look, regardless if it's my company or another company, if you're interested, tutor online. It's one, great rates. Number 2, you're helping in the education sector by providing mentorship and coaching and knowledge to a student. And number 3, it's honestly quite fun. And a lesson can range anywhere from 1 hour to 3 hours at the top end. But take a look at some other companies aside from Evolution Learning as well. So there is Chegg Tutoring, which is a really, really big one in the US. There's BrainFuse, there's Tutor.com, there's Tutor Doctor. A lot of different companies are hiring for this right now, or I would say this one here protects the highest for you. Look, if you're in US, Craigslist, do a posting, post up your specialized subjects, obviously have the grades to back it up, right? And your transcripts. If you're in Canada, I would say another good website is Kijiji. So Kijiji.com, if you post a private tutoring ad up, you should get some responses as well. So when it comes to the education sector, this is a really, really easy one where you can work online in a safe manner, but also you can give back in the education sector. So that's number 4 for me.
Yeah, and I think this category, especially to me right now, Sam, absolute no-brainer. Mm-hmm. Not only are 1.5 billion children out of work, but are out of school, but all of their parents are working from home. And so they have the added burden of not only having to do their job, but also look after their kids and kind of serve as, childcare as well. And that's really, really tough because the burden is doubling on the parents right now. And I really empathize for that. So for putting yourself in the parents' shoes, for them to be able to pay someone like yourself to not only kill 2 birds with one stone, but make sure their kids are still growing and nurtured and grow and learning new things. But at the same time, it frees up their time so that they can actually focus on, responsibilities that they have that haven't gone away. Super helpful. And I think the other thing that I would highlight that, again, I think I've seen a little bit more because my fiance is Russian and I'm surrounded by that community, is there's language tutoring out there too. If you know a second language, people right now have a lot of time on their hands. And I think this leads into one of our next steps, but people are investing themselves, which I think is kind of great to see. I'm doing it. Sam, you're doing it as well, I know, because our time is freed up to some extent. So part of that is people are trying to learn new languages, and there are definitely sites out there where you can get paid to tutor people through in learning those new languages. So a great tip there. So I'll take on number 5, which is just a little bit of a unique one. Again, I don't see this being something that you can continue to go back to the well on, but another way or idea that I think is worth everybody just checking is if you had some sort of debt that a company owed to you, but for whatever reason, they tried to send it to you and you moved, a million different things can happen. You might have never collected it. So in the U.S., it's a website where you can check. You can put your information in there, and it's called unclaimed.org. And you might have money out there where maybe American Express owes you $50. I had a friend the other day that told me about it. He found $60 that, again, was just sitting there. So might not be a way to get some recurring revenue, but at the very least, it will pay for your lunch maybe, or 2. And again, maybe in the unlikely scenario that you just had a huge debt that you never found, you actually put some good money back in your pocket. And then for Canada, I would Google Bank of Canada Unclaimed Balance Registry. So both countries have this. There are other countries out there that I'm sure they have it, but I would just
Mm-hmm.
Google your country if you're outside of Canada and the U.S. and Google your country name plus unclaimed debt, and see what you can find there. And then the other one that I would kind of highlight or lead into in terms of number 6, and I'll pass it to you when we talk about Canada as it relates to this, is just in the U.S., very simply, we have regulations out there as it relates to COVID-19. It's called the CARES Act. So you are eligible potentially for certain governmental funds. So, for example, if you were working and for some reason you now no longer can work, like you were laid off, or even as a freelancer or a gig worker, like an Uber driver, whatever, you can file for unemployment. And I don't want to go into the specifics, but the federal government has offered an additional $600 a month above and beyond what your state might give you if you were impacted in that way. Another area in the U.S. is disability. So if you are unable to work because you're taking someone that is now unable to tend to themselves because of all this stuff going on, that is another area you can file for disability. Now, you can't file for both simultaneously, but when one is exhausted, you can move to the other one. So if you get disability, great, exhaust your disability, and then you can move on to unemployment. And so that can be a great way to, again, put money back in your pocket. And then the third kind of point there is if your income was below a certain threshold in 2018, mainly at $99,000 for that year, or below, between 75 to 99,000, it's a little bit less than the 1,200 prescribed amount. I'm not going to go into too much details, but if your income was below a certain threshold, the government might just give you money, which is also kind of cool. And I'll pass it to you, Sam, to talk about like the high level stuff as it relates to, programs that are out there from a Canadian perspective.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So right now, when it comes to Canada, the subsidies are actually great. The country as a whole is really subsidizing on a few areas. So one of the areas here is it's called CERB, so an emergency benefit here. And most families here, if your income level is under 1,000, and I want to explicitly say it's gross income, not net income. If your gross income is under $1,000 in the past few months, and it starts retroactive as of March, you get $2,000 that's put into your bank after you've applied. Now, here's the stipulation, right? You can't try and trick the government. No one can trick the government. They're the biggest business in the world here, right? And so you want to make sure that you follow the rules. And so if you go on CRA, you're going to find that good information. So that's $2,000 a month. For students, it's about $1,250. And so you want to take a look and try to apply to some of those things. If you're a student, $1,250 a month is not too bad. If you're a working individual that has been recently laid off, or you don't currently have work due to COVID, $2,000 a month is not that bad. Rent assistance. So this one here is for small businesses. You can get up to 75%. And again, read the fine print and everything in between. But the government has explicitly just came out last with rent assistance, where people and small businesses that are actually paying rent right now can get some sort of relief. And rent typically, when it comes to a small business, is the biggest operating expense for you. So take a look at that. One more that I really want to talk about when it comes to small businesses, governments are giving you interest-free money, $40,000, and at which 10,000 of it can be a relief as well. And so there are rules as well. For example, you need certain level of employees there, but take a look. Canada has some really great benefits right now, and you want to make sure that you can take advantage or utilize that so you can stay afloat.
Great. Thanks for sharing that, Sam. And again, I think what you did a really good job there, and I do want to underscore, is we are by no means experts in this guidance. So please do your own research, make your own determination. We just want to put you in the right direction if you weren't aware that this is stuff that was going on. And then for point number 7, this one is a little bit more long-term in nature, but we referenced it earlier. everybody right now has seen some sort of openness or potentially in terms of their time. Not everyone, but a lot of people have seen their time being unlocked. And that can be, you know what, I really need to put money into my pocket today. And the first 6 points really address that. Number 7 is saying, you know what, maybe I still have time after doing all that stuff. Or, you know what, I have some savings built up. I'm not at a point where I feel like I need to go work at a grocery store yet. I want to take that opportunity and invest in myself. Now is the time and opportunity to take the time that's available to you to level yourself up, and whatever that means, from a health perspective, mentally, physically, what have you, to in terms of a skill set perspective, or just even reading books. So there's a million different things you can do here, right? But there are so many resources online to get a new skill set. You want to learn coding? Now is the time. You want to learn a new language? Now is the time. You want to read that book that has been on your nightstand for a year that you haven't touched? Now is the time. Really see all this as an opportunity to lever yourself up, gain a skill set, and I think that leads into something you can definitely do, which is point number 8, and I'll pass the baton off to you to round this all out and take us home. Sam.
No worries, dude. I'd love number 7, Matt. Level up. We all got to do that. Level up. Number 8. So here, this one to most of you is a no-brainer right now. What type of businesses are doing well? Online businesses. So you want to take a look at that. You know, maybe you've wanted to start a drop shipping company, an e-commerce company. I have friends that are doing it now. They're growing a following. They're able to grow a funnel, and they're still able to tie people back, and they're still able to buy it. Right? And people are still able to invest right now in small goods right now that are online, that are safe. And so take a look at that. I mean, my wife is an oil painter, so she has products where, she just recently got an order. People were ordering her artwork on a cup, and it's actually great where she actually set up that online business, and people actually right now are looking for things to send people for celebrations, for birthdays, and so online business is a really great way. So what I mentioned there was e-commerce, drop ship. You want to take a look that there are people that are fulfilling orders right now. Amazon FBA, that's another. Online courses, that's another one as well. You can really create an online course right now and try to, if you want, even test it out by providing it to someone for no cost at all. See if this is something that you like, right? Number 8, I would say it's a really fun project. Treat an online business as something that you've always cared about. And now that you have a little bit more time, you can start investing in that as well. SPI, another great place here. It's a 3-part series on online businesses, MBA as well. And so you want to take a look at that. But when it comes to online business, it's actually quite a big area where a lot of people can play on. And so, Matt, because of this, I actually want to punt this over to you. Online business, anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I think this in itself, the online business, and what types of models are out there for you to build out that could potentially start to grow into being a passive income stream. And what I mean by passive is, again, nothing's ever truly passive. You always have to maintain things, but setting stuff up in a way where you can have a business that's humming along, where you're pulling some money out of it every month or on a quarterly basis, where it takes a minimum amount of upkeep and work to keep that going once it's kind of set up, right? But what you're really doing is putting that investment in time on the front end to get that up and humming, right? Again, there's no way to avoid putting in the work. You're just allocating the work on the front end and then having something kind of be automated and only require maintenance down the line. And there's a lot of things that Sam might have mentioned in terms of some of those example business models that it might have been gibberish to you, right? There's a productized service, like you didn't mention that one. There's affiliate sites. That might be stuff that, again, you're like, well, what does that even mean? And I think why Sam mentioned this is there are resources out there that have really round out this topic. This could be a 3 or 4 hour podcast just to talk about those different business models. So we do want to point you to the experts that have educated us on the subject. One is Smart Passive Income, SPI. Just click the Start Here button when you go to his website. It's super straightforward, and there's a 3-part series where you just listen to all of them, and he'll explain all these different business models that are around that you could potentially start up, that some might work for you more than others. Sam, you kind of mentioned it. Tropical MBA is another really good podcast. They also have a really, really impactful blog. They have a couple episodes, and I where they actually just, again, go and focus on, these are guys that have started their own online 7-figure businesses. They started their podcast to give the information back to others. And they have an episode that you can definitely find that all they're doing is talking about exciting business ideas that they would definitely love to see out there. They just don't have time to pursue. So stuff, and I would definitely take a look at that as well. This is not an exhaustive resource, but those two are very, very, and have always been very helpful to me in a huge way. So that's it, Sam. 8 tips on how to put money back in your pocket right now during shelter in place, during quarantine, during COVID-19, and in 25 awesome, minutes.
No job too big, no job too small. Really take the time. We talked about these 8 steps. Closing thoughts here are that, yes, it's ways to make money, but you shouldn't use that as the pressing point here. I think the biggest takeaway here is everything that we just listed out, it's an opportunity for you to spread your wings and say, hey, you know what? These are some things that I've always wanted to try, right? Look at the money as a byproduct, right? Look at this as an opportunity for you to actually take in, and maybe after COVID-19, this could be something where you're like, you know what, I want to double down on this. And so take the time. Matty.D, it was a great episode here. 8 ways to make money. Let's look into it ourselves.
All right. Awesome. Thanks for the time, Sam. Always a pleasure.
Love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.
Until the next.
Till the
Ciao,
next
Bella.
one. Ciao, Bella. All right.
Okay.
So just to recap, 8 steps to put money in your pocket right away. 1, essential services are hiring. Instacart, DoorDash, grocery stores, Amazon, Whole Foods. 2, spring cleaning. Get your wedding dress, help someone else out, sell that online. Old cell phones, tablets, last season's clothing, especially name brand clothing, purses, shoes, makeup. If you have old computer games, cameras, video games, this is a great way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Clean out your house and at the same time put some money in your pocket. 3, freelancing. Take an inventory of your skill sets. At the very least, you can be a virtual assistant. We talked about it earlier, but that's a great way to make money virtually. 4, we talked about this. Everybody for their kids right now, because they're all working from home, are going to need tutors for their children. So if you have a skill set or a way to educate people, that's a great way to make some extra money. 5, get money back through unclaimed debt. So unclaimeddebt.org in the US, Canada, Bank of Canada, unclaimed balances. 6, again, governmental programs. So unemployment, disability, Search CARES Act in the US. For Canada, CERB, rent assistance. There's some small business subsidies. And then 7 is more invest in yourself. If you got money and you've done some personal budgeting, you got some savings up, but you have some open time, find a skill set that you've always wanted to learn. Figure out a way to level up yourself. How can you grow yourself during this time? And then lastly, 8, start an online business. Focus on building a passive income stream. Check out Smart Passive Income at the Start Here button, or Tropical MBA. Tons of resources on different business models that you can start. So that's it in summary. I'm super excited to get this all out to you. Sam, always a pleasure, buddy.
Thank you, Matty.D. I'm going to start selling my mom's makeup.
Unopened, of course. All right. Take care. Bye.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to today's episode. If you enjoyed what you heard, please feel free to share, like, and subscribe to our channel via Linktree. You can find us on all of your favorite podcast sources, as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and good luck everyone.